Hi guys, we're going to take a look at changing in our formation for the season. We know some stage or another throughout the season we're looking at trying to incorporate the second position and the second formation for our players, really to boost their education for the unpredictable world of open age football when they eventually get there. I'm going to use an example mainly based from one of my experiences at Leeds, where we looked at changing from a 4-3-3 into a 3-4-3. Now straight away one of the biggest challenges is we look at our formation there and then we're looking to adjust completely into a different kind of shape, where we look at a 4-3-3 to a 3-4-3. That a big change is our centre backs being a little bit uncomfortable with these open spaces here. So straight away one of our challenges straight away was to get buy-in from the players. But the big reason why we did it is linked to our player IDPs. So we had 4 players who we thought, this is under 16s level, who we thought realistically were probably going to be a centre back in the future. I'll just name first name basis. So we would have Liv, Georgia, Lois, and there was also Molly. So out of the 4, we felt that a back 3 would really boost their knowledge about how to work effectively as a back line, not only as a 4 but as a 3. Now all these 3 players had different outcomes linked to their player IDPs for their tactical corner. We had Georgia, who was very strong in the tackle, very, very organised, but if the ball would be out wide, and this happened the same in the back 4, would often be very rash to rush out and go win the tackle because she was strong enough to do so. So we felt as a back 3, putting her on either side of a 3 would really, really boost her decision making of when and where to go out. If she went out, would leave us exposed in the middle. If she stayed in central too long and they came towards a goal scoring opportunity, we're at risk there. So we felt as a wide player in the 3, she'd get loads from it. Liv, on the other hand, was a little bit different. She was slightly more hesitant to step out of the unit because of the risk of what was going on behind. If she came out, that would only leave 2 players behind her rather than, in most cases, a traditional 4 in a back 4. So that really boosted her knowledge and information about when and where would be most beneficial, because once again, if they got too close, but half a yard, they shoot. So she, as a central player, got quite a bit from this formation here, working in this central area, possibly leaving spaces exposed. And then Lois was just a little bit different in the case where she was neat and tidy, defending 1v1, especially in really tight areas, technically very good in that sense. We just wanted to stretch her over a bigger scale, with the ball coming at her, and she had more space to cover, and not as many covering options. So we just thought it'd boost her there. And then Molly was a player who had loads of potential, just needed a confidence boost. And we felt as a back 3, and giving her the instruction of staying in central, working tight with a unit, would give her a little bit more cover and a little bit more balance as a 3, rather than the full-back going, and sometimes being isolated as a 2, and there being a lot of space, not only down the flanks, but in these central areas as well. So she got loads from just having that little bit extra help working as that 3. So that's the main reason why we did it. It was all based on player IDPs. Now this won't suit every player. However, we wanted to go one step at a time. We looked at certain players who would benefit from a certain formation. We really wanted to hone us on these 4 players. And we felt given a 3-game minimum trial at this formation to really boost their education. Other players like our centre mids, we had 2 who liked to hold, Emily and Hannah. They were very, very comfortable in that because They had options in front who could go, and they didn't have to make many decisions about going forward or staying back. They got to stay in their comfort zone and stay in these holding areas. That's fine, because we can touch on them later, transitioning into another formation or adjusting their challenges or adjusting their positions and rotating them around. But for the moment, it was based around these three. Now, like I said before, the buy-in was one of the hardest things to try and get into these players. They were very, very comfortable at 4-3-3, and they'd done it for a number of years. It was always their favoured formation. It's what they always played best at. So we had to think very, very carefully about how we might incorporate this and when we might do it. And we thought post-Christmas was a really, really good opportunity, because what we had was a series of sessions that we could link together, working on our theme that we got given in our technical syllabus, but based around this formation, where these players could get used to it whilst working on the topic. So what we had after Christmas was counter-attacking. So for 2 weeks we looked at counter-attacking, especially from these wide players here, giving us the width, working relationship winger and one of our number 10s. If one went, the other will come in the inside channel, the centre forward occupying them spaces, or if they ran the channel, having that rotation. So it was still based around the theme, but what we could work on with these players linked to the IDP was, especially these three, getting the unit up quickly, remaining compact, and if one of the centre backs could drive it, having that rotation, so we were still in a comfortable position with a bank of 5, with our goalkeeper covering. So that's what we were looking for. So it was still based around the theme, however we had a little bit of work to do with this back three and holders. So that's how you can embed it into your session. Still keep it linked, however you just slightly adjust how you might go about working your sessions. If you're doing the phase of play, adjusting your forward line, your back line, so they get used to that, and then just putting little constraints in which can really, really make them think. Once again, they're still getting that education, and you're slowly just embedding the principles. The other good thing about doing it post-Christmas is that there's usually friendlies, and this is for the 16s case, we had a couple of friendlies and where the players naturally thought they weren't as important as other games, so we used it as a great chance to use our friendly games to embed this in, get the first session out of the way, and then when they came to facing other RTCs, they had that little bit of experience, a little bit of confidence going into it so they could go and apply it. And I think that really, really gave them the boost that they needed, because they had that experience. Going in blind to a tough team might have been another case. If we went in straight in with this against Man United, it may have been a bridge too far for the players, but just tactically putting it in a sensible time with loads of sessions behind it allowed us to get more coaching points out, more technical detail, more positional detail to make them feel as comfortable as possible. And that's one of the big things. So sometimes, like I said, if we're adjusting from a 4-3-3 to a 4-4-2, you're only really looking at 1-2 unit changes, where you've gone from your back four, changing to a back three, and your midfield unit changing from a 3 to a compact 4 when out of possession, and then the forward unit changing from 1 striker and 2 wide players to 2 players playing in the inside channels and the striker on their own, linking up as a little triangle. So don't be surprised if it doesn't come off straight away, because it's such a change, it's such different unit changes, the different depths, distances I have to cover will all be a little bit different. So don't be surprised if it doesn't look right straight away, because there's a lot of information to digest. And like I said, for these three at the back it was a challenge, but the two players here, it was a little bit more comfortable for them. And that takes us to the last point really, about because we've now gone from a 4-3-3 to a 3-4-3, they have loads of experience now in different units, different shapes, different distances, different covering distances, and that made the transition from the second formation to a final one a lot more easier. An example, we used this back three, became comfortable here, and it was a very, very only subtle change. We were playing Liverpool, and rather than playing this formation, all we wanted to do was have a little bit more security in the midfield. So all we did is we asked one of the inside forwards to drop in as a centre mid to make a three. And what we said is we wanted two players up front for a counter-attack. And this made us a little bit more secure in defence, but also when we got the ball, we had players higher up who we could hit on the break. And that was such a subtle change, and that's all we said to the players was, we're just going to change one thing. We want one extra striker, and the two inside forwards, one just has to back up the midfield a little bit more. Straight away, we got instant buy-in from the players because it didn't feel like a big change. So going from a 4-3-3 to a 3-4-3 to a 3-5-2, instantly, two units have changed. Players barely noticed the difference because it was only one subtle change. And then that led us on to even acquiring a fourth, because they'd had experience as a back four, they'd had experience as a 4 in the 3-4-3 and 2 up top in a 3-5-2. That allowed us to, at times, make a 4-4-2. The defence were in a comfortable position because they played in that back four before. The 4 here, or the players usually occupying the 4 in the 3-4-3, were used to playing in the midfield 4, and what was great was that these wide players who were doing doggies up and down didn't seem as much to them because they had a little bit of cover behind them, so they still had the work rate from the previous formation, but they knew they had the cover behind them. And then from the 3-5-2, we had them 2 strikers. So just from making one big jump after Christmas, doing a little bit of work on it, allowed us to go from one formation to another, based around the IDPs, and then once they got comfortable at that, then we started to stretch other players. Like I mentioned, our 2 holders who wanted to hold, once we changed to the 4-4-2, one of them had to go support, and one had to come and cover round. So later on in the season, we were able to stretch them that way. But the big message is, have a deep thought about what formation you want to play based on your players' needs. Not all of them, just maybe 2, 3, 4 of them. What are they going to get that's going to really stretch them, linked to their IDPs? And then, how is that formation and how are you going to structure it to make sure them IDPs come out? Are you going to ask in the 3-4-3, by reset, how are you going to ask your team to play? If you want your wide player to get fitter, are you going to ask them to do a little bit more distance, or if that's not a problem, it's more tactical and positional, go in and then come in and tuck in around with a centre mid. And then finally, linking in that second formation to possibly opening up a third if your players are ready for it. If you feel it's a bridge too far for them, that's fine. If you feel that you need to make a subtle change now, but they have the experience of different numbers in different units, different covering distances, different distances to attack, to defend, and you feel that makes a nice little transition into a third, go for it. If you have any questions on it, come speak to me, but I thought this was a really good opportunity, rather than bringing everyone in, is just to see it in a video, do it while you're washing the dishes, and if you've got any questions before training, or grab us on the group chat, come find us, and hopefully